Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are once again going to be doing another Left 4 Dead 2 ranking video. You guys really have been enjoying this series. I just want to say really quickly thank you. I am forever grateful that this series is doing super well, so I'm more than happy to keep making them for you guys. And the last episode, guys, was about ranking the jukebox songs, and that one did really well, but I thought about what I wanted to do for the next one, because we've been kind of doing, like, more uncommon stuff, and I was like, what's something that you guys would really want to see? So I went to my channel, and I put out a poll, and these were the results. So, coming in at the number 1 was actually the Easter eggs, and I thought this would be a really, really good idea, and I'm very happy that you guys picked it. So thank you for those that participated in the poll. So yes, guys, in today's video, we're going to be ranking all the Left 4 Dead 2 Easter eggs. Now, before we do go any further, though, there is a little bit of clarification I want to give before this video starts. So, what are we classifying as a Easter egg? Technically, the vague definition, or the most broad version of a Easter egg, is just anything that is a secret or a bonus to the game. Some people consider Easter eggs to be references, quotes, anything hidden in the game, and that's a fair assumption, but I'm going for pretty much anything that's blatantly obvious that's an Easter egg in this video. Because there's a lot of stuff that is subjective, where they could be an Easter egg and they could very well not be. And so what I decided to do is I did a whole bunch of research. I did like 7 hours worth of research for this video. And there were some things that I saw that were repetitive, but that means that it was good for the sake of the video, because it means that everyone unanimously declares this as an Easter egg. And there were some that were like one person or two people would classify something as an Easter egg, where others would fail to address it or say otherwise. So I just did my best overall to what I would classify as a Easter egg, and for me what I came down to the conclusion is that an Easter egg in the sense for Left 4 Dead is anything that's blatantly meant to be found eventually that's supposed to be a bonus to the game. So this would be something like, for example, a reference to another Valve game. This would be a reference to some other pop culture media, such as a movie, maybe one of the game devs, stuff like that. Or it can just be something that's just a flat-out joke or secret, or something that's maybe fourth wall breaking. If it relates to the gameplay, that's definitely a bonus, but it can also be, like I said, through something like such as wall writing or quotes, if I haven't said it already. But that will be more clarified throughout the video as, you know, we discuss and go on further. So basically, long story short, we're classifying Easter eggs as anything that contributes to the community and the gameplay as a whole. That was a secret that was eventually meant to be found. And that's pretty much the best way I can put it, because otherwise it's going to be very hard to rank these Easter eggs. Because theoretically, if you think about anything, could really be an Easter egg at the end of the day. And also, one last thing as well, guys, is I also want to let you guys know that I've recently got a supporter creator code by Epic Games. So now I actually have a supporter creator code that you guys can use in the Fortnite and Epic Games stores. So I wanted to just encourage you guys to please use it if you decide to end up getting things such as V-Bucks, or if you're buying games such as Back 4 Blood. So therefore, technically this video is sponsored by Epic Games. So thank you, Epic Games, for being my first sponsor. I tremendously appreciate it. Don't worry, guys, I'm not doing the Raid Shadow Legends thing where I go on for like 5 minutes. But I hope you guys end up enjoying today's video, and let's rank some Left 4 Dead Easter eggs. Alrighty, guys, so coming in for our very first Easter egg, this is going to end up being the grocery store name that is on Dead Center. So this is the one that has the Coke that you end up getting for the gun shop owner. And the name, it's just pretty straightforward. It literally is a reference to the Left 4 Dead title, because of the fact that it's got the number 4 the way it does. So essentially, this is a nod to the game itself, or a fourth wall break, which I always like those. But the Easter egg is so simple and almost dad joke-esque that it's really not deserving to be that high, but it does at least deserve to be acknowledged. Alrighty, guys, so this next Easter egg is also pretty simple, but the good news is, though, is that this one's not necessarily as dad jokey, even though it is just a little bit. But I'm going to show you guys basically what I mean. So this is going to end up being attached to a cedar truck that's going to be right outside the second chapter of Dead Center. And there's an acronym here that says Disease Emergency Assessment Dispatch. But if you take the first letter of every single one of those words, it actually ends up forming the word dead, which is just kind of funny. It's just a little dad joke once again, and I think it's just a neat little Easter egg. Alrighty, guys, this next Easter egg is also extremely simple and straightforward. This is actually just going to be the Gnome Alone achievement. The achievement in itself is actually the Easter egg, because the achievement is a reference to something that happened IRL, where Gabe Newell, who works with the Left 4 Dead series, he basically took the Gnome Chomsky doll itself, a 3D printed one, and literally had it sent to outer space. So a Left 4 Dead object or character is now in outer space. And the cool news is too is that there's another side to this Easter egg or story where he was going to add the achievement in regardless, whether or not that he ended up getting that thing into space. It's just that the achievement would have said that he didn't get into space versus rather that he did. So the Easter egg itself is actually just the achievement, and I think that that's just honestly kind of cool. Plus also, it's one of the few things that was actually added into the game after the Last Stand update, which is cool because it means that they're still actively working on the game now, and it makes me wonder what they will add in next, hopefully. Alrighty guys, so this next Easter egg is going to end up being a Easter egg that references some of the devs. So if you go into the 3rd chapter of Hard Rain, right as soon as you spawn in the safe room, there's going to end up being a Easter egg set of writings that are on the wall. And this is going to end up having names of developers at Valve. And these are going to end up being writers. This is going to end up being Chet Felistek and Eric Wolpaw. And these guys, like I said, are just writers at Valve, and I think these are pretty cool, and I like how they end up putting people from IRL into the games universe. I just get a big kick out of that. Alrighty guys, so this next Easter egg is going to be pretty simple, but it's a big deal to me personally because I was the very first one to find this. And what this is that this is the Gnome Chomsky Easter egg that's on The Last Stand. So if you no-clip on The Last Stand and you end up going to the bottom half of the map where the water is, and you end up going into the one boat, there is a Gnome Chomsky doll just sitting in there. There's no reason he should be in there. There's no bug or texture issue or anything. He's just full on there in his little Gnome Chomsky self. And I am very, very happy that I found this Easter egg back when I did because it was a personal first for me, and it puts me personally into Left 4 Dead history because I'm, like I said, I believe the first one to find that. But even though it's a cool Easter egg, it's still not necessarily as cool as the other ones on the list. But I do just want to point out the record that I think that this is still a cool Easter egg nonetheless. And you guys should check it out if you have the chance to, because it's very uncommon. I don't see a lot of people talking about this one. Alrighty guys, so coming in for the next Easter egg, this is going to end up being the Golden Crowbar, because this is technically a secret hidden weapon that's in the game. These are only if you end up playing on the PC, because that's where they are for the Last Stand update. And there's at least one every single chapter of every single campaign, and you can find them just lying around. For me particularly, I really do like the fact that this is in here because it ends up adding in another weapon into Left 4 Dead. And even though it's just a reskin of the crowbar, I just find it very cool because it's technically a cosmetic for a gun or a weapon that we have in the game. So this makes me think of what would be like if we end up having gold camo in the game. There's no camos you can earn, but you can get this. So it's the closest thing we've got, and it makes me wonder if we ever end up getting camos one day. Maybe hopefully we will for Back 4 Blood. But I get a big kick out of these, and it's a little quest that you can end up doing if you want to personally just have something to do. So for the next part of this video, this isn't going to be just one particular singular Easter egg. I'm actually just clumping them together into one, because if I end up doing these ones individually, we'd be here all day. Because really what they are is a whole bunch of quotes. So if you go into the passing campaign, and you end up playing the second chapter, and you end up going to this area where the pool table is, on the wall right here, these three walls have a whole bunch of pop culture references, such as movies, video games, etc. There's Plants vs. Zombies references in here, there's Dawn of the Dead references in here. This room in general just has references to a whole bunch of other genres related to zombies. And so therefore, instead of doing every individual quote, I just decided to clump them all together because they're literally in the same room, same chapter, same map. It's just better to do it that way. But they're really cool though. So the next Easter egg here is going to be one with a quote, and I'm actually going to play the quote for you guys here in the video so you can hear it yourselves too. This is going to end up being the Ellis quote when you're playing on Dark Carnival, and you end up going in the Tunnel of Love vents to get a Half-Life Easter egg quote.
One thing video games have taught me, good shit always comes in vents.
Alright guys, so for this next Easter egg, this is also going to be another Half-Life reference. So if you're playing on the finale of The Last Stand, and you eventually make your way to the Watchtower, you are going to find a sign that says, "We don't go to the lighthouse." This is a reference to Half-Life 2 Episode 6, because in there is a saying from that game where they say, "We don't go to Ravenholm," and that's where these two quotes start to end up having similarities. I've never played Half-Life before, so this meaning doesn't really stick with me, but I completely get it for anybody that is a fan of both games, how they would end up getting a kick out of this. So this Easter egg is going to be very similar to the Hard Rain one, where they shout out team members. It's going to be exactly the same thing, but it's going to be for a member called Carrie. And the reason why I just put it up higher is not because I necessarily know Carrie, but just because of the fact that it shows that there's people that still want to work on Left 4 Dead. And so I'm giving Carrie technically a little bit of a higher status on the pedestal because they helped make another Left 4 Dead 2 map because it's been so long, and so therefore they keep the game alive. As I was making this video, I never truly realized how many Easter eggs that there were in Left 4 Dead. I've always looked for them, and I've always ended up trying to find them, but there's just some that I never was able to find, even though I knew that they were there, and some of them were just right in my face all along. So this one is the one that's going to be on Crash Course, because the Crash Course truck you use to escape it on the finale is skinned and themed after the Dawn of the Dead truck, which I think is pretty cool. It's a big shout out to anybody that's a fan of zombie, just pop culture media in general, and even though I've never seen Dawn of the Dead, I respect them for adding this in. So this Easter egg breaks the fourth wall again, so if you end up going onto No Mercy in the subways, you'll eventually find this ad that says the Orange Box Juice, which is supposed to be literally just advertising orange juice, but this is supposed to be a reference to the Orange Box, which was a game bundle in real life that Valve made that ended up having Portal 1, Team Fortress 2, and Half-Life 2. And I think that's pretty cool because this was actually a really good bundle. I never owned it because I never needed it, but you were able to end up getting such a variety of good games for such a decent price, and I just think that's just really cool how they reference that. As I keep going down this list, I notice a lot of them are Half-Life, so I guess Valve definitely does have their favorite series. So yeah, guys, if you end up going onto Swamp Fever, and you end up going to the hung charger that's going to be on the first chapter, I always just thought that this was just a hung charger, but no, apparently the charger is deliberately put this way because he's trying to form the shape of the logo of Half-Life, which I never played Half-Life like I said, so it doesn't really mean much to me, but you gotta respect that they added it. So for this next Easter egg, technically 2 Easter eggs, I do not have my own gameplay, so I'm going to be borrowing some from a fellow YouTuber. So shout out to CacP26 for having this gameplay on his YouTube channel of these Easter eggs. I am hoping you don't mind, CacP, that I end up using your gameplay here in this video, but if you do have a problem with it, just feel free to hit me up, man. I'm always available via different social medias. Links for them are down below. I will also provide the links to all the channels of any and all YouTubers that I borrow gameplay from throughout this video. But yes, guys, let's get into the Easter egg where it's Lewis quotes, which is going to be pretty cool. And these Lewis quotes have Lewis referencing CSGO and Gordon Freeman.
Man, I feel like I'm Gordon Freeman. The subway can take us straight to Mercy Hospital. Oh man, this is just like Counter-Strike.
So I wasn't sure about this one until I saw the gameplay side by side, but I get it now. And so that's why I'm putting this where it is. But if you go to the last stand on the Horde summoning step, there's a crowbar that's going to end up being in these planks of wood. Now you might just think that these are just planks of wood with a crowbar in it, but it's specifically placed in a way to reference Half-Life yet once again. And what it is that when you play Half-Life, you end up getting a crowbar as your very first weapon, and you use it to break down wooden planks. So you can see where this is going, where that's deliberately put there, so that way you can reference Half-Life once again. Now, I'm almost certain that a lot of you guys already know about this Easter egg, and you might be thinking to yourself that this is not even necessarily an Easter egg, but technically everyone else considers it that way, and I just think it's just nifty, so that's why we're putting it on this list. But this is going to be the Easter egg where Ellis and Coach sing on the finale of Dark Carnival, which I always get a kick out of.
Ready? Yes. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, thanks a lot. Sure.
Now for this Easter egg is almost identical, but it just specifically involves Coach, because you're not expecting this one unlike the last one, but it's another singing Easter egg. So if you're playing on the passing, and the player is playing as Coach in particular, if you end up going on the second chapter of the passing, and you end up going on to the, third, I would say, floor of the one building, that is right as the chapter, I would say, is just getting started, you'll eventually find a suitcase full of pistols and money, and if you know where I'm going with this, you'll know what this Easter egg is.
Reloading. A suitcase full of pistols.
So this next bit of gameplay I got is from another YouTuber once again, and this YouTuber is going to be pronounced Auras Johannes. This is a old video from 2009, but I still want to give the guy credit anyway. So I'll be using his gameplay for this next Easter egg, and this is going to be the Easter egg that's tied to the achievement that relates to Gnome Chomsky on Dark Carnival. So this is the classic good old step-by-step process where you take out Gnome Chomsky from the prize pool and that one arcade game, and you bring him throughout the rest of the campaign with you. And this has always been one of my favorite things because I've always liked this quest, I've always liked this achievement, and I always just liked the doll. I always just thought it was kind of funny to meme around with him. And I recently found out that he's also from Half-Life, so this is also another crossover reference. And I just think overall that the whole entire process of this Easter egg is super fun, because you essentially can do this throughout the whole entire game and go on this epic quest. So that's why I put this so high, and that's why I like this Easter egg so much. So with the Gnome Chomsky achievement there that we just completed talking about, that is basically where we start to get into the really good achievements and the really fun stuff. And coming in for the next achievement, this is also going to be really fun. This is going to end up being the dev room, as I like to call it, in The Last Stand. This is a Easter egg where if you take a melee weapon and you beat this one door on this one house here, eventually the door will break and it will reveal a whole bunch of fun stuff that you can end up looking at. There is a computer that if you hold E on, you get one of the golden crowbars, and it just gives credit to every single person that worked to make the Last Stand map happen, and the Last Stand update in general. And this is really, really cool. This is the best way that you can pay homage to any of the devs, is just like dedicate the whole entire room or Easter egg to them. And I really like the way that they handled this. So this also does give you an achievement, by the way, so I highly encourage anybody and everybody to check this Easter egg out for themselves. It definitely is really, really important that we give credit to the mappers because they didn't have to do this. We could have easily just had the last update be Coldstream a long, long time ago, but they want to keep updating the game. So thank you to all the devs that did this, and shout out to your own Easter egg. This is always cool to look at. And yeah, guys, let's move on to the next Easter egg, because I think that as we go down this list, it's going to get really, really fun to listen to. Alrighty, guys, so this next bit of gameplay I got is from Sonara Snake. Now, Sonara Snake over here has gameplay of not only Bill's corpse lying on the passing, which in itself is an Easter egg, but also he's got audio of a Lewis quote, which this happens when Lewis ends up killing one of the tanks, and he's basically honoring Bill through the quote he says.
That is for Bill! That is for Bill!
I like this quote, and I put it so high up on the list because it means a lot to me, because I really do like these characters, and I'm glad that they're not just trying to make the characters only feel connected for the sake of immersion and not for the sake of telling a good story. And I'm glad that when Left 4 Dead 2 came out and they had the passing, that Left 4 Dead in itself didn't end up having this weird vibe change where the characters just didn't seem like they were once the same as they were, and they just feel like falling flat almost. But no, in fact, if anything, it feels like that they mean more than ever to everybody else because of the quote that they have just like this. Okay, so this next quote, or next Easter egg, is going to be from Zoe. And this quote is really funny because this is actually referencing Valve themselves. For those of you guys that don't know, Valve owns Steam. Like, Steam was created by them. It's not just the thing that happens to hold their games. And when you end up playing as Zoe on Crash Course and you walk up to a Steam pipe, this quote happens. I see what you were doing there, Valve. You not only were doing a fourth wall break, but you were also roasting yourself a little bit through that Francis reply as well, and I can respect that. And I think that overall, this quote is just fun, just because it ties in things together, and it just makes it just a fun and goofy atmosphere, especially when Valve is willing to roast themselves just a bit. Alrighty, so this next clip is also from Sonara Snake again, so Sonara Snake, thank you once again for having this on your channel, and I hope you don't mind me using this in my video. But yes, guys, this quote in particular is one of my all-time favorites because it's Zoe imitating Ellis, and it feels like in a friendly, flirtatious almost kind of way. You just gotta take a listen.
I ever tell you about the time my buddy Ellis stole a race car from the mall and drove it over some zombies?
No, I haven't heard that one.
I really do like myself this quote because I know there's a lot of people that ship Zoe and Ellis together, and I personally do myself as well. And so just anything that can fuel that idea is just awesome. I mean, they are my two favorite characters after all. Now, even though this next clip is not my personal favorite quote, it does show a lot of likability almost in Nick in this way, because this is going to be a Nick quote, and it also is from The Passing, and it's a quote that isn't exactly cheerful given the context, but it makes you almost kind of feel like Nick's not truly the hard-ass jackass that he is. I know there's a lot of people that like Nick. Personally, for me, I've never really been the biggest fan because I think he's mostly a dick. I think that Francis handles more of that, like, friendly asshole vibe better when Nick just doesn't handle it quite right. He just kind of comes off wrong with it. But this makes me like Nick just a little bit more knowing that he feels this way. By the way, shout out to X-Anaguy Legend because I am using his gameplay throughout this video, and I want to make sure that the guy gets credit where credit is due because I think that this is one of the best quotes, honestly, in the game.
Assault rifle.
Sorry for your loss. All shit aside, I'm sorry to hear it.
There's not many of us left, brother.
I'm starting to get that feeling myself.
I really do like this clip because it shows the characters being human. Like, the zombie apocalypse hasn't made them, like, completely emotionless, and, like, this is coming from the characters that you would think would be the least emotional. This is from Nick and Francis, the two hardasses of both groups, and they're the tough guys, and so having them show emotion like this and almost being human, like abnormally so than their normal personality would make them out to be, it just makes it much more impactful that they had this in the game. Alright, so this next Easter egg is pretty cool because it references the Steam community once again. So if you end up playing on the finale of Dark Carnival, on the wall here in the spawn room, there's going to end up being some graffiti that says 10 plus rep, and this is actually a reference to Steam because REP, or rep, stands for reputation, and so essentially what you're doing is that having positive rep means you have a positive reputation on the Steam forums, and basically giving reputation to people basically means that you're upvoting them, kind of almost similar to Reddit. Alrighty guys, so for this next Easter egg, you need to end up being on the first chapter of No Mercy, and what you want to do is you essentially just want to go down into the apartments, and the Easter egg pretty much starts as soon as you end up turning around the first corner. So after you kill the zombies and you make sure that you are safe, on the kitchen table that is going to end up being in the first room that you end up visiting, there's going to end up being not only one, but two different crossover references. There's going to be a TF2, or Team Fortress 2, and also a Half-Life Easter egg right in here. So the TF2 Easter egg is going to end up being that little cereal box, and the Half-Life Easter egg is the newspaper. The Easter egg for these are both the same, they're just showing characters from each game, with TF2 being the heavy character that you can pick from, and I believe that the newspaper is one of the main characters from Half-Life. Like I said, I personally never played Half-Life, but the fact that these Easter eggs are both right next to each other, I think it's really cool. It's a back-to-back double homage to Valve's other games, and it's just a cool shout-out to all their other series they've done. Alrighty guys, so this is going to be a very rare Easter egg because it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it is pretty nifty. So this Easter egg is going to take place on The Passing, on the second chapter, and if you can get lucky enough, when you're walking to a certain fence, you will have the chance to find the Midnight Riders tour bus going across the street. And shout out once again to CACP for this footage.
What in the hell was that?
For me personally, I've only experienced that Easter egg like a handful of times because I very rarely play The Passing enough to get the Easter egg to spawn frequently enough. But it is a really cool Easter egg because The Passing technically takes place before Dark Carnival. So if you played Dark Carnival before and then you get the Passing DLC later on, you'll be like, hey, that's cool. Maybe that means that the band members were still alive, you know? It's just fan theory crafting. I think that's really fun. Alrighty guys, so now for this next spot, I want to let you guys know that I'm not going to be putting the gameplay of the Easter egg in the video, because it's actually a song, and when I made my jukebox video, that one actually was the one song out of all of them that got claimed. So I just want to let you guys know that the next Easter egg that I'm ranking is going to be the Portal song, Still Alive, on the jukebox. But, like I said, for the sake of the video, to avoid getting a claim again, I'm just not going to include it. But however, though, since the jukebox video is already up with that one anyway, I'm just going to link you to that video in the description if you really want to hear that song that bad. Alrighty guys, we're down to our last few here, so this is going to end up being, for the next Easter egg, one of my personal favorites because it's just so goofy and fun. And once again, last shout out to CacP again, because this is going to be the last bit of gameplay I'm going to need to borrow from him for the sake of this video. But CacP, thank you so much for having these videos on your channel, you are a lifesaver. But yes guys, what this Easter egg is going to end up being is that if you end up playing on the Dead Center finale, you know the references, you've heard the quotes, there is a very small chance, but if you can get it, it's one of the best things ever. If you're playing the finale of Dead Center, there is a chance that you can run to a zombified version of Jimmy Gibbs Jr.
At this guy's face.
Reloading.
Jimmy Gibbs Jr. is considered one of the uncommon infecteds, where he's not quite a special infected, but he pretty much should be, because he has over 1,000 health, and when he does spawn, he spawns at usually the worst possible timing. He is really, really difficult to kill unless you're pretty much focusing on the whole entire time, because like I said, he has 1,000 HP. Now, he is just an uncommon infected, so he doesn't really do that much damage, but if he's trapped you in a corner or you're trying to carry one of the gasoline cans or something like that, he is going to get in the way. He is going to be an inconvenience, other than just the fact of just hearing, like, you know, the funny quotes that come along with it, obviously. But yeah, guys, Jimmy Gibbs Jr. is essentially a boss fight. It's a very rare, but a very fun and occasionally very chaotic boss fight. Alrighty guys, now we are down to one Easter egg left, but I do actually want to end up doing something for the very first time, which is going to be including honorable mentions, because there were some Easter eggs on this list that didn't really have a place, and I wasn't sure where to put them, so instead of just completely leaving them out of the video, I wanted to give them an honorable mention spot. So, honorable mentions are going to include any and all quotes / references that I may or may not have missed, because I don't know every single actor, actress, or person that worked on the game. So if there's any quotes that I missed that are on the wall somewhere, you can feel free to let me know, and I definitely will end up looking at those comments. Another honorable mention I also want to include in here, by the way, is going to end up being the death toll boat that ends up being on the sacrifice. The death toll boat in the finale ends up being a crashed vessel on the sacrifice. And for me, I personally decided to leave that out of the video because that's more of a Left 4 Dead 1, I say, style Easter egg when I'm really trying to focus on Left 4 Dead 2 in particular. I understand that Left 4 Dead 2 is kind of also Left 4 Dead 1, but also at the same time, I just didn't know where to put the Easter egg. So I hope you guys understand. And then the last Easter egg that I want to put in here is going to end up being the Radio Man that's on The Last Stand. He is supposed to be a Half-Life reference of some kind, but I don't know what it would be. And so, since I don't know where to put it, I'm just putting in the honorable mentions. Alrighty guys, so here is the #1 spot for the Easter egg list. Now, for this Easter egg, there's a lot of things that I don't know what to say about this. Because, first of all, #1, I didn't know this Easter egg existed until today. Even though I saw it, and it is considered an Easter egg, I still don't know whether or not to think of this as an Easter egg, as a texture bug, or if this is just a flat-out secret that's just been kept from us. Maybe it's scrapped content, I personally don't know, because I can't explain why this is what it is. So, basically, a long story short, if you end up loading up the main menu of Left 4 Dead, and we've looked at this several of times before, it's gotten basically to the point where, like, we've seen every little nook and cranny of this thing, but not exactly. If you look at the one loading screen in particular where the background's going to be Dark Carnival, I haven't seen it any other way other than Dark Carnival, but there's one zombie in the back here that I'm going to zoom in on. And he never moves, and he just sits there kind of dangling. But if you just let the main menu sit for a while and you don't load into a game right away like we would all normally do, he eventually, for a split second, has his face moved, and his eyes are glowing neon yellow. No other zombie does this in the game other than the witch, and I don't know why he does this. It looks like a normal zombie, and it's not like every zombie can do this, because every other zombie walking around is completely normal. It's just this one in particular, and it's not a witch. So is this like maybe the equivalent of like a male witch? Did those exist? Was that an idea on the behalf of Valve? Because there's female boomers. Was there a female and male version of every single one of the special infected and this just got scrapped? I genuinely don't know what the hell this is. And it's cool though. This makes this the most interesting Easter egg of them all, because I just found out about this today and it's been in the game basically since its existence. And who knows what the idea behind this is, because nothing's ever been addressed by this. If any of the developers or even any of the mod team members from the Last Stand update know what the hell that this is, or can give some sort of reasonable fan theory, please let me know, because I have no idea what this is, and it's such a mystery that I just have to make it the #1 Easter egg. It's just that cool. So yeah, guys, that's basically going to be it here for today's video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you guys ended up enjoying from beginning to the very end. If you did make it to the very end, please feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, and I will definitely give you all hearts because you deserve it. But yeah, guys, as we wrap up the video here, once again, just feel free to let me know if there's any particular ranking video that you want me to make next. I might make it a poll again, or I might just do them at random, or just see what you guys are posting. But yeah, feel free to let me know, because I definitely want to make sure that I keep doing these for you guys, because you guys love them. And if you guys could also, once again, please use code BLACKNINJA797 in all caps in the Fortnite and Epic Games item shops. That would be tremendously appreciated. I would appreciate the support very much. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys end up enjoying another YouTube video for the most unique YouTuber you guys are ever going to see. Thank you for watching, guys, and peace out.